Hey, legends, welcome along to a new episode of Hellmouth Hotline. I'm your host, Rodney Stewart, and we're getting into a little chat about Angel, Season 1, Episode 10. This is called Parting Gifts, and that's a good episode. And we've got the aftermath of what happened with Doyle in the previous episode. He gave his life to save his friends and the group of demons that he was half a part of, half human, half this group of demons that he had let down in the past. And when he had said in the opening episode, everybody's got something to atone for, that's what happened in the prior episode. So, yes, I should have had my notes out properly here. So, at the beginning of this episode, Angel goes to see the oracles one more time and asks them to reverse time. They had done that in a previous episode with Buffy in there, where Angel became human and couldn't continue on in that way, so he asked to be reverted back to a vampire, and the only way they could do that was to reverse time and change the past. So he asks him to do the same thing here for Doyle, to bring him back. Doyle was my conduit to the powers that be. Without his visions, I'm fighting blind. What am I supposed to do here? But the oracles refused to do it, and they pretty much say, look, Doyle made his atonement, made his sacrifice, and to change that now would make that pointless. So they pretty much kick him out of there and tell him, as one door closes, another door opens. So, yes, meanwhile, there's a demon cut to this guy running down the street, horns in his head and whatnot. Your typical humanoid demon looking sort of a character. Middle of the day time, he's trying to evade the pursuit of a black clad motorcycle rider. And this motorcycle rider is kind of set up like the Terminator in a way in this episode, which just makes it even funnier whenever you realise who it is. Back at the offices of Angel Investigations, Cordelia, she's looking for something in the office. She's in the prior episode, the whole lead up to her relationship with Doyle culminated really in her having the same feelings that he had for her, and making that decision has kind of broken her in this episode. She's looking around the office for something that's, tangible, like a memory of him. Angel tries to be understanding, but Cordelia shies away from further discussion about the feelings. But her watch beeps as a reminder that she's scheduled for an audition. So, on the one hand, she's this devastated, broken character, but then typical Cordelia style, still very much in the mould of what she was in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. The beeper goes on the phone, I have to go for an audition, and her personality kind of changes, and off she goes. When she opens the door to leave, the demon that was being chased by the guy in the motorcycle is just coming in to ask Angel for help, sending Cordelia in his way. Angel tries to figure out whether he can help this demon, whose name is Barney, as well as he really wants to or not. But this guy, Barney, tells Angel that he's an empath demon, and he admits to using his ability to read people's emotions to get edge in cards or fights. And that's it, nothing major. I don't know why this guy's trying to take me out. I'm not doing anything evil, just trying to make a bit of money on the side with it. Angel identifies Barney as a cheat and wonders whether the guy in the motorcycle might have a good reason to be after him. But Barney's protesting, I'm not perfect, not evil. Can't imagine why this guy would track me down. State after state, this has been going on for a long time. So at the audition, we cut over to that there. Cordelia, she breaks down sobbing in the middle of her reading. It's like an advertisement where she's supposed to be upbeat and whatnot. And she breaks down, the emotions get the better of her. And the free producers just, they give her an hour try, but in the last moment she suffers from her first vision. So the vision hits her. That's what we've seen in the prior episode where Doyle kissed her. You seen this little wisp of light between his mouth and hers. That was his visions moving across to hers. So that's what the oracles meant when one door closes, another one opens. So Cordelia is now Vision Girl in the series. We cut over to the man on the motorcycle. He continues to track down the demon. He gets off the bike. He examines this yellow fluid he finds in the corner of a building. So again, they're pushing this kind of narrative. I think this is the Terminator sort of a thing. You don't see who this guy is at this point. So we cut back to the offices. Cordelia comes back from her audition, and she marches in, grabs hold of Angel, kisses him on the lips, and he's freaked out for a second. And she says, she didn't feel anything, and asks if he did. He tells her no, and she gets frustrated. When Angel starts to try to discuss it with her, she groans and says she still has it. She explains that she thought her kiss with Doyle meant something, but instead he used it to pass on his visions. And of course, Angel now realising that the kiss was the mechanism for passing on the vision to her. Cordelia embarks on a kissing spree, essentially. Like Barney's in there, this demon is in there, so he comes out from another room, and right away she grabs him, kisses him. Of course, the visions don't go to him, but Barney, he's like, I like the way you treat your customers here. So Barney and the Angel leaves the oh fuck me, excuse me, I'm trying not to swear in these episodes. Angel leaves Barney, the empath demon, under Cordelia's care. Lost my way in my notes there. So sorry, guys. Gives her instructions to also try to sketch what she saw in her vision. So he goes to check out Barney's low rent motel room, and Angel's then ambushed by the guy in the motorcycle, and he's then revealed in the dark light of the room to be armed with a crossbow. The man shoves Angel further into the room and levels his crossbow at Angel's chest, and he walks in, and it's revealed that he's Wesley Wyndham Price, Buffy and Faith's former watcher. So that just makes the comic moment even better whenever they build it up for that first section of the episode where this is a dangerous Terminator type character, and he's been chasing this guy across countless states trying to get hold of him. Then you work out it's good old Wesley. So Angel disarms Wesley in short order, and Wesley tells the Angel that he has quit the Watchers Council, and Angel makes a bit of a joke about them firing Wesley. But Wesley insists that without a Slayer to watch over, he did not quit, and is now a freestyled rogue demon hunter. Angel and Wesley compare notes on their overlapping cases. An enormous demon attacks him, oozing this yellow fluid that Wesley had been checking earlier. Slinging Wesley against the wall with ease, the demon lands a few good punches at the Angel until Wesley shoots it with the crossbow, and to their surprise, the demon screams, crashes out the second story window to run away, limping and moaning. Meanwhile, back in Angel's apartment under the office, Cordelia, she's trying to sketch this grey blobby sort of thing that you've seen in her vision, but just nothing's making any sense to her. And Barney attempts to engage Cordelia in conversation by offering this little bit of sympathy for her grief, and he finds himself the target of her anger and suspicion. Barney assures her he didn't mean to intrude, and Cordelia, apologises for being rude to him and kind of makes amends. She opens up about Doyle, and Barney has a nice line in this episode where, he's an empath demon, of course, he knows everything that's going on in her head. But he does say something that is fairly deep for this point. At the beginning of the episode, she was walking about the office trying to find something. It was not even a coffee mug that belonged to Doyle. It's almost as if he wasn't here. And Barney says, I take it this friend of yours, Doyle, didn't have much in the way of possessions. It seems like he's gave you the most important element of himself to you regarding the visions. So I love that line from Barney in this episode, even though he turns out to be a complete tool by the end of it. Just then Angel comes downstairs bringing Wesley with him. Barney, he runs and hides. He's like, this is the guy that was after me. But Angel reassures him that Wesley's one of the good guys. Checking to see that Angel's out of sight, Cordelia then jumps on Wesley, kisses him, hoping that the visions will go to him. So they have a moment where they kind of compare notes to she had a crush on him back in season 3, I think, of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And when they kissed, what she thought was going to be the Prince Charming character turned out to be terrible. And Wesley makes a reference to that by saying, I think that kiss went a little bit better than our last one. So, yeah. Cordelia only recognised Wesley after they exclaiming with disappointment that the visions are still with her. As Angel and Barney re-enter the room, Wesley snaps back on task and disappears in the direction of Angel's library, only to reappear moments later, having identified their opponent as the Klungai, a demon of Asian origin. Now, that's the thing that was really needed for this series, was the Watcher type of characters. I've said it before, you don't really know for sure why Doyle was actually written out of the episode, whether it was anything to do with his struggles in his real life. But, looking back on it now, I kind of feel that, you needed that character in there as a way to introduce the visions and the story, and they were always going to pass to Cordelia no matter what way it was going to go. And obviously Wesley was always going to be in the series. The rogue demon hunter, Wesley, claims that continuing to track down the Kungai is his job, or their job, if Angel insists. Angel orders Wesley to stay behind. Wesley makes a sound of disappointment, and Cordelia asks him if he's okay, and he starts to tell her no because his leather pants are chafing him. Again, he's got the full Terminator gear on him. But he trails off when she realises that wasn't what she was asking about. We cut over to a Korean spa in Los Angeles, a Lotus spa, and bribing the desk clerk to let him in. The Angel finds the Kungai demon, but it's dying because of the attack horn on its forehead has been ripped off. Angel speaks Korean but can't understand what the Kungai is urgently telling him. Back at Angel's apartment, Cordelia continues to sketch the object from her visions and complains about Doyle's gift. And this is the point, I'd actually jumped ahead, this is the point where Barney had given her that little bit of a pep talk about, this guy didn't have much in the way of possessions, he gave you the most important thing that he had. So, yes, Cordelia starts to make coffee. Barney makes a call on his mobile to someone, an associate called Hank, and mentions that he stole the horn from the Kungai demon. And Barney tells Hank, but he now has a line on something better, a seer. So these guys are trading in black market superpowers, more or less. Wesley turns up at the spa, now wearing a suit, looking more like himself, and helps Angel by translating the Kungai's last words, which identify Barney as the murderer. So we're all on the same page now, watching the episode, and the characters on there. Back at Angel's place, Barney changes his personality towards Cordelia begins to insult her. She gets upset, starts to fight with him. She tries to run, but he blocks her and ties her wrists behind her. Barney savors her fear, asking her to keep it up. He's just enjoying this. Just her emotions is feeding whatever sick need that he has at this point. Cordelia pretends to get visions about him, and he asks her if he's in danger, and she replies, "You're in pain," and he kicks him in the nuts. I'm really having to really think about what I'm saying here, because I'm trying to keep my language as clean as possible. I'm trying to keep my content as family friendly as I can, as far as the language goes. So you get me in the right day, I can swear like a sailor, but I'm trying not to. So Barney tells her to go with him quietly because bruises bring down the cost of the merchandise. Cordelia tries to scream for help, and he punches her, saying, but it doesn't bring down the cost by that much. So Angel and Wesley return to an empty apartment. Wesley feels responsible for Cordelia's fate, and Angel's looking for clues to what happened to her. Wesley sort of collapses in despair over losing yet another young woman from his care, admitting that he didn't quit the Watchers Council, but he was fired for failure to control either of the slayers placed under his care. Angel then finds a crumpled drawing that Cordelia made of her visions, and he rotates the paper up on its side and recognises it as a grey sculpture, maiden with urn. Angel queries the web, gets on the internet, and finds that the sculpture is currently owned by a hotel chain with a load of establishments in LA. Wesley, having looked up the one Congoy phrase he hadn't been able to translate, finds that it means collar seal. After a few moments rolling it over his tongue, he realises Kungai meant auction. Angel starts calling out to find where the statue is located. So if they find the statue at the hotel, that's where the auction's at. So Cordelia awakens. She's bound and gagged in a room with the grey sculpture. So she finally hits it for her. This is, we're in trouble here. This is the vision that I had, and now I'm seeing it. Yes, and it's making sense now because she was drawing it from the wrong angle. But now that she's lying on her side, she's seeing it at its proper angle, and it's like, oh, I'm doomed. Anyway, Cordelia notices a long cloth draped table covered with various body parts and organs, including a still beating heart on a pedestal jar. And hearing Barney talking with someone and approaching from the other room, she closes her eyes and tries to pretend she's still unconscious. They seem to be discussing whether to remove her eyes before or after the auction, as Hank continuously clicks the extractor device. The auction begins. The item for sale immediately before Cordelia comes up with the attack horn from the Kungai. Hank brings Cordelia to the podium, where she tries to claim that she might not be a seer since she only had one vision, but no one's listening to her, and Barney starts the bidding for the seer's eyes at $2,000. The bidding slows down to $11,000, and Cordelia being Cordelia is like, I'm worth more than that there. So Angel and Wesley find out where they're at and arm themselves up to go rescue her. Cordelia, back at the auction, she's buying time by inciting a bidding war between two of the people that's bidding on her. The contest proves fatal for one bidder. He gets taken out by the other guy, and the matter seems settled at a substantial $20,000 sale, which has Barney excited. The representative from Wolfram and Hart suddenly bids $30,000, and it's been a while since I watched this episode. I want to say it's Lila Morgan. I think this was her introduction to the series, but that's pretty much it. She bids the biggest money, gets the sale, but Cordelia is rescued in the nick of time by Angel and Wesley. So she's back. At the end of the auction, Cordelia is in the back room listening to Barney negotiate with Mac, the lawyer from Wolfram and Hart. No, sorry, I should have went further ahead in my notes. No, this guy, Mac, it's not your woman. I made a mistake, sorry. He's negotiating with Mac, the lawyer from Wolfram and Hart, about the additional fee for removing her eyes. Why Hank still click the three-pronged extractor, and Mac agrees to the extra $1,000. And Barney, taking the extractor from Hank, holds Cordelia down to do the job himself, and Hank's not happy with this here. He was looking to do it, and they've got like a childish argument thinking, just settle down, I'm doing it. A body comes flying through the door at this point. Angel and Wesley follow immediately after. This guy gets knocked senseless as they're coming in to rescue Cordelia. A fight starts, and the guy from Wolfram and Hart, having already made a strategic exit, uses his cell phone to give the situation report. Angel shouts to Wesley to get Cordelia, but just as Wesley and Cordy head for the nearest exit, Barney attacks Wesley, and the ensuing struggle. Barney quickly gets the upper hand and starts to throttle Wesley. Cordelia grabs the tack horn, stabs Barney in the back with it, and they watch as the horn's powers drains his life force, so he just, withers up and disappears, more or less. Angel takes out the rest of the gang in there, and Cordelia hugs Angel, who acknowledges Wesley's assistance. So it's a nice little opening episode for Wesley as well. He's feeling down and out because of what happened to him with the Watchers Council and the Slayers, and he's been roaming around as a rogue demon hunter, kind of pointless since then. And now he's got a little bit of, well done, Wesley, from Angel. So back at the end of the episode in Angel's apartment, Cordelia sits on the kitchen table and she's ironing out the drawing, and she's going to frame it as a memento for saving her life and as a reminder that something of Doyle's will always be with them. Angel continues to scramble eggs. He's making up breakfast, and Wesley makes his farewells, drawing out his departures as far as he can. And Angel, who already has a plate out for Wesley, offers him breakfast. So Wesley excitedly accepts, and the three enjoy each other's company. And that's where we kind of close out the episode. So I did enjoy this one. It was a nice little follow-up to Doyle's departure and the prior episode, and it tied up any loose ends that you would have had, and just sort of put a full stop on his character. And he's gone. This is the situation now. Cordelia is going to have to continue on having the visions. We've got a new character in there that's going to give him that Watcher knowledge moving forward in their attempts to fight the darkness. So enjoyable little episode. Not the most action-packed, but fairly heavy in story. I really did enjoy that take on the Terminator kind of character. They're hiding Wesley's identity at the beginning of it. Very, very funny. Anyway, that's going to do it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please rate and review the show, share it along, get subscribed or follow whatever platform you're on, whatever the term is, whether it's subscribing or following. Please do that. And if you want to contact the show directly, you can do on Hellmouth Hotline at gmail.com. So until the next episode, guys, stay safe, and I'll talk to you all then. This has been a production of Coins Age Media. Thank you so much for listening.